Good evening, everybody. I would like to start out with a disclaimer. The words you're about to hear have been handed to me by Liz, seriously vetted with my girlfriend Nicola. I may have changed some of the words, some of the meanings, or indeed everything completely, but they have actually improved. For those who don't know me, I'm Douglas Williams' older and I hope wiser brother, which is why I've avoided the seat 4 spaces to the left, to the right of me, sorry, for so long. Although I fear the net is closing in now. I want to keep my words brief here today, as I know we're all here to celebrate the main event, which of course will be Williams dancing during the first dance. So any delay to that will be detrimental, I feel. On behalf of the bridesmaid, I'd like to thank William for his kind words. I'm sure we all agree not only does Claire look fantastic, but she did a brilliant job, not least of getting Liz to the church. I've heard she put up quite a fight. I thought it right to ask Liz, as her family was to be here, to tone the speech, what not to say, what I should say. I was brief. I was to not mention Will's little soldier that he plays with in the bar. And under no circumstances the size of it. So for the rest of the speech, I may refer to my brother as Little Willie. I was also asked not to mention the X's, but thankfully foot and mouth and mad cow disease have taken care of many of William's past conquests. I see you're liking the farmer reference there. I asked my father, William's boss, who fortunately does not get to give a speech at this wedding, what his thoughts were on William getting married. He looked at me, a tear formed in the corner of his eye. He said these words, I thought we'd never get rid of that one. And now for 3 weeks of peace and quiet. Here's the cheesy one, everybody. As a farmer, Will is outstanding in his field. Unless he's hammering around hitting the tractor at 200 miles an hour being shouted at to slow down by his father. But seriously, Will is good at his job. So good, in fact, all his co-workers call him Jesus. He's got this nickname for 3 reasons. 1, you never see him. 2, he makes his own rules. And 3, if he does any work, it's a bleeding miracle. He would only be called God if he was not following in his father's footsteps. I believe my main responsibilities today were to ensure the groom arrived on time, sober, and good looking. Well, 2 out of 3 isn't bad. I'm only the best man, and the raw materials that I had time to look with were quite rubbish anyway. In the running for best man, there were a few contenders, a couple of whom are here in the room today. Michael Jackson, not the real Michael Jackson, Will's friend from university, one of his housemates, was also in the running for best man. But Mike is a practical joker, as many of the lads here on Stag Do will confirm. With his tubes of Imac and other props he brought along. But there was a time when they were living together where Will awoke in the middle of the night with a burning sensation all over his body, convinced something was wrong, running through the house, waking everybody, saying to get out, only to be stopped by Mike saying, no, Will, it's all right, it's just the chili flakes I covered you with before you showered. Jump in the bathtub. This and other unsuitable stories from drunken times at university have ruled Mike Wellentry out of the running profession. There's also Craig, another contender. He's the tall gentleman that no one can understand from Scotland. Craig worked with Will in Andorra, where Will worked as a snowboard rep. And it was Craig who was part of the party that one night, after a few slept beverages, it got to 5 in the morning, they thought that they would go into the mountains, take one of the post protectors from one of the ski lifts and use it as a sledge to come down the hill. They arrived at the bottom of the hill to find Will was missing, assumed he had gone home somehow, and making their way back up the mountain for another run, discovered Will's prone body lying in the snow as he had a broken jaw from hitting one of the posts where someone had thoughtlessly removed the post protector from. Again, armed with more drunken stories from this period of Will's life, Craig would probably best not seen that here at the front. Also seen as the greatest threat to the marriage ending before the first dance. So this left the job to me. One of my jobs as best man was to put together the stag do, which I did with military precision. Sadly, it was the French military. The weekend went well, apart from a few small hiccups. The biggest impression being left on Will by his best friend Craig, and a piece of very heavy climbing equipment that was swung low towards him, dropping him to the floor. Will did do extremely well in the go-karting, and along with all his teammates, the raft racing, which some say was fixed, which is more than can be said about the opponent's raft, which came apart on several occasions. I'd like to thank Will for pointing out all the stags in the room today, as I found it hard to recognise one or two of them with most of their clothes on. Looking at you here, Rick. Sporting, witty, intelligent, some say handsome. A leader. These are all qualities I have passed down to Will. For those of us who know Will, we're all aware of his sporting prowess. More recently in the form of cricket, where he's taken the village team from the bottom league to the distinguishing high heights of Premier South Northamptonshire Cricket League, where his average is about as impressive as his toy soldier. The famous cricketing term LBW may now take on a different meaning for Will. It could mean lucky beautiful wife. For me, little brother weds. Maybe Liz before Will. Or Liz bags Willie. And hopefully not limp boozy Will. There are lots more, so feel free to make up your own. Sticking with the sporting theme, there are many other sports that Will has taken part in over the years. Parachuting, football, snowboarding, but let's not forget his gymnastics. As a young lad, who can forget the sight of young Willie charging towards the box? It is snapped in short, but in all seriousness, he was very gifted and even asked to train with the county squad. But when he found out this would mean giving him his free time, where he could watch TV, his other sports, and put in long hours of hard work, he decided it was not for him. Which does lead us to the question, why get married? I'm guessing he's now a changed man. I've never seen Will as happy as when he met Liz. They've been inseparable and make a wonderful couple, obviously completely in love with each other. It is indeed a special day when your brother is joined in his life journey by a partner. How apt it is, therefore, that Will chooses to be with a lawyer. For one New Year's Eve, he was found wandering the streets of Brackley as a young adult, at 1 a.m, looking lost and slightly worse for wear. He was offered a lift home by 2 kind Samaritans, and having just made the turn into the farm driveway here, William chose this moment to thank his saviours for a lift home with the best technicolor jaw he could muster. Needless to say, the 2 police officers sat in front of the car were not impressed. But Will, Liz has done a wonderful job here with the wedding, and obviously you said yes in all the right places in decision making. During the planning, but sadly not the ceremony. Will diving in far too early there with the I will. Let's hope that's not a gesture of what's going to happen tonight. It seems Mum likes having a wedding here every 15 years or so. That makes Dad do all the jobs he's promised to do. So it looks like I'm booked in myself for 2025. In researching the dates, I found nothing to match this. On this day in 1959, the Americans sent 2 monkeys into space. How apt today we launch these 2 monkeys on a trip of their lives together. Well, what can we say about the bride? In all seriousness, this is an amazing woman. Isn't it good to see my brother with someone who is so stunning, intelligent, and with a great sense of humour? Yes, indeed, who would have thought that a short, hairy man like this would have done so well for himself? She must like the simple things or be easily pleased. I would like to say, with regard to marriage, it is important to set the ground rules and establish who's boss, then do everything that is sensible. Born as the last of 3 children, my parents said, when things get this bad, let's not try again. A sentiment which has been passed down to my sister and has been carried on for all those who know young Sam. So, I wish you both good luck and happiness of extending our families together. What can we say to Liz but good luck? There are a few good men out there and you have found one of them. Is it easy to see why Liz was born to marry, but not the reverse is so clear. For he is not tall or handsome, but I know there are many jealous people in the room, and I've heard a few who must have already started work on the gallows, for I've heard a lot of them say he must be well hung. Finally, I would like to propose a toast to the bride and groom to please charge your glasses, wish them all good health, to the bride and groom, happiness in their new life together, and all they may wish for. To the bride and groom!
Bride and groom!
What the hell's going on down there?
The disco will be starting up soon, so I reckon get yourself well lubricated before the first dance, so you can all forget me doing that. Yes, enjoy. Thank you all for coming. Hope you've had a good day. The weather's been good to us, so time to hit the bar. Yes, thank you. Until